Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez
and me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day.
All right, Katy. We've got a very special episode today. We are actually recording this on April 1st. I wish we can put it out there as an April Fool's joke.
But
Fern is not here today. What's that?
And he nixed the April Fool's Day episode.
I wanted to have an April Fool's episode. Fern said no. He said, we are not comedians.
No.
I corrected him and said, you're not a comedian. I'm a comedian. However, Fern's got some stuff going on with the kids this morning. All good. Everything's good. But I said, Katy, let's hop on here. And you just came up with a whole list of topics. And I said, Katy, scrap that list. Scrap the list. Because I have the idea. I have the idea that we're going to go with. And, you know, for the listeners, you got to give Katy credit. Most of the time, you're game for just about anything.
I would say that. Yeah. But now I had no idea what's going to happen. You literally
no idea what's going to happen. We did a commercial shoot one time, completely inappropriate.
I was part of that.
Yep, you were part of it. The only time you weren't a team player, Katy, remember? Do you know what I'm going to say?
No.
When you wouldn't coach a class at Rife.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, and you regretted it.
I did, but I was I was nervous. So,
okay. So here's what I want to do right now, Katy. We've got millions of listeners. You know this.
Billions, actually.
Is it in the billions already?
It's in the billions now. Yeah.
So we have billions of listeners, and often, I get hundreds, maybe even thousands of DMs every single day. And the most common question I get is, I want to know more about young Katy.
I doubt that is the question you get.
So many.
DMs.
So many. Okay. I'm very protective of you.
Thank you.
So I delete them. I block them.
Sure.
But I feel like we should take this episode and get to know young Katy a little bit better.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Let's start very surface, Katy. How old are you?
I am 28 right now, but I'll be 29 in 2 days.
Oh, is your birthday? See, already. Yeah. Now we know. So your birthday is Sunday? Is it coming up this Sunday?
April 3rd. Yeah.
And you're married to Tyler Springsteen?
Steinspring, yes.
Sure, whatever. And what do you think he's going to do for your birthday?
Well, he's been traveling all week, so just getting him home will be good. But we this weekend is also our niece's birthday, so we're going to celebrate with his family, and then we'll see my family on Sunday. So just kind of hanging out.
So this little kid is stealing your shine?
Yes, Juliet's stealing my thunder. No. I
think I saw a picture. Did you post a picture of her, like a 4-year-old? Is she 4-ish?
Yeah, she turned 4.
Yeah.
She's very cute. Yeah.
What does a 4-year-old want for their birthday these days?
Princess everything.
So just princess stuff? Does she get to dress up like a princess?
Yeah. And the craft that they're doing is make a tiara. So that'll be fun.
I can't wait to see pictures of you wearing a tiara. So Tyler gets home tonight. How long have you been married?
A year on May 1st.
We got a lot of big anniversaries coming up.
Yeah. And actually that was a year, like literally 2 weeks after we got back from that, because we went on our honeymoon, is when I started full time with Best Hour, because I quit my job right before we got married, my other job. So
yeah, no. And you know, that's a big part of this. And, you know, we've talked about it before. You know me, one of my favorite kind of classification of people to work with affiliate you are those that are, you know, ready to leave the corporate or real world or, you know, normal world. And I think that's why we've always been so happy to have you. I mean, obviously you're truly great at what you do. Right away, you were a fantastic fit into the company. Just, you know, we needed a female voice and you keep us in check, but you're a hard worker. You know, I tell you what, you know, I had a conversation with somebody the other day and I often relate things to you. And I said, one of the first things we told Katy back when she started is like, make mistakes. We will be more angry if you don't try to do something. Like if you're paralyzed and don't do anything, than if you try something and make mistakes. And trust me, you've made a shit ton of mistakes, Katy.
Yeah, a lot. And also Fern,
all the mistakes, every mistake possible, you've made at least 3 times.
Yes, 100%. But Fern just jumped in the waiting room. Do we want to let him in?
Fuck Fern. We don't want Fern on this episode. Yeah, let him in, but we're still talking about
Are we
you.
still, are we could, okay.
No, we're keeping the topic at hand. Fern was running late. We're happy to have him on. Fern, roll with me on this. Welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome everybody.
Is Logan everything good? She's in school again. She's back in school. She didn't drop out of second grade.
She keeps trying to drop out every day, but I keep forcing her to go back to school. So
I dropped out in second grade. Look at me. I'm fine.
yeah, that's why I'm trying to get her to go back to school.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So anyway, Fern, we weren't sure if you were going to make it, but we're digging into Katy. The listeners want to know a little bit more about young Katy Springsteen and everything that goes around with her. So we've talked. Did you know her birthday is in 2 days?
Of course I did.
Yeah, right. When's her anniversary?
That I don't know.
May 1st. May 1st, 1 year anniversary. What are you getting Tyler, Katy?
Well, I can't say it if he
He
listens.
doesn't listen. Does he listen to the show?
Sometimes, so he might listen to this
I'm
episode.
definitely not going to listen to this. If we just title the episode of the show "Tyler Don't Listen," then he won't listen to it.
He won't listen. Yeah.
But I am interested in hearing, Katy. You know, we were talking about how we love helping people that leave the real world. You know, and Katy she did it, and I want to hear a little bit about what that.
For the record, she didn't leave the real world. She's currently still in the
Still in
real
it.
world. Yeah.
I mean, if you consider working with us the real world, sure. Whatever.
Not working with you is delusional, but it still happens to be the real world.
I like that shirt for him. What is that? Is it new?
It isn't. Well, not really, but it is from a company called, I believe it's pronounced Vuori.
Oh yeah, I've heard good
look
things
at
about
you.
that. Viore.
Man, you got that
Is that how you
CrossFit
say
Rife.
I think so.
That CrossFit Rife money. He's just buying fancy T-shirts, taking his kids to fancy schools.
I don't know. Well, A, we don't know if she got in. If she has her daddy's intelligence, she's not getting accepted. And then B, I don't buy clothes. My wife purchased me clothes. She's like, I would like you to look respectable, so put this shirt on. Like,
Jess, wear my clothes. Look at me.
Otherwise, I would just wear the free things that Noble and Reebok give me everywhere.
Hey, that's not bad. I saw you rocking the new hoodie this past weekend at the seminar.
Those hoodies are comfortable, by the way.
I know. I'm excited to wear mine. But Katy, you were kind of helping us out. It was like, how do I want to say this? For free at first. We weren't paying you, I should say.
I don't know how else you would say that. Yeah.
Yeah. But, we very much made it clear like that is the goal. And we talked about it from day one. But what was it like making that decision? Who'd you talk to about it? Knowing you had a real career going on. And I think a lot of listeners don't realize that about you. They just kind of think you stumbled into this. But part of the reason we love Katy so much and want to take such good care of her is because we appreciate people that have the balls, the cojones, help me out, Fern.
No, just move on with that statement. Yeah. I'm not helping you put your foot in your mouth. You go to that.
Good.
To leave a job and latch on to two crazy people who are just, wanting to change the world. So what was that decision like?
Yeah, I remember actually, I think I've said this before. I was listening to episode 300 where you guys put out the call. I took it as a call to action of needing help with social media and podcast editing. And so I just DM'd you in the Best Hour Instagram, and you, Jay, very quickly responded, and you're like, let's hop on a Zoom call. And I'm admitting this now. I was nervous to talk to you because I listened to you guys every day. I'm a huge fan of the podcast, listen to it every day. I was one of those who would swipe down waiting for the new episode to populate.
I was going to say swipe right. I was like, no, Fern, are you on Tinder still? Are you still on Tinder? Is that how you guys met?
Jess and I had an agreement when she went on deployment, I could get back on.
Oh man,
single wide deployed. Is that a term?
Yeah, in some circles it is.
So you enjoyed listening, but that's interesting too because not that you were, I don't want to say just a coach, but you weren't an affiliate owner. You were a level 1, level 2 trainer at the time.
Yeah, I was level 2, still am, and I just listened to the podcast, loved it. I ever since I found CrossFit in 2016, just trying to, I guess, find development. I think actually my friend Jamie, who is in your coach's development group, she was the one who initially sent me the podcast. And so I knew I wanted to do something in the space. I loved podcasting, loved CrossFit. I just didn't know what it would look like. And you guys put that out there. So I just shot my shot, I guess. And I did. Yeah, I was working as a coach. I had a job. I was a marketing manager at a technology company, and
that's a real job. You had a real job.
This is a real job now too. But yeah, it was a real job at the time.
As real as we let it be. So I want to ask,
what's the saying when luck is when preparation and timing meet? Yeah.
I think I said that a couple episodes back.
Yeah, it was Jason Ackerman. Yeah. I actually remember I was talking with Marcus when we were in Texas. You guys were recording an episode, but he and I were just talking and thinking through like my trajectory as far as a career path goes and how I ended up here. I felt like I've done a lot of different jobs, I guess, in my 5-6 years since graduating college.
What are they? Just out of curiosity. I know one. I don't know any of the other ones.
What was one? Which one do you know? Just the one that she referenced?
The previous. Yeah.
So first thing I did when I graduated college, I stumbled into CrossFit eventually, but I worked at a podcasting and radio station called Business Radio X. And then I did set up trade shows and stuff for them. And they had like a women in technology segment. So I helped run that. I started a dog bed company kind of randomly.
Wait, a dog bed?
Yeah, dog bed. It was called Mallard Made in the USA. It was USA made products. I did a lot of random things that
you were making these, like stitching together dog beds by hand.
I figured out how to source the materials in the US and they were sewn, like the bed casings were sewn, and I would put them together with the pillow and
Mallard, is that because it was made from feathers?
So no, because Mallard Made, a mallard is the duck.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
And it's because my dad really loves ducks and mallards are his favorite. Yeah, Blue, my dad, the dad I have, the one.
Now I no longer like ducks.
I knew he was a quack.
Yeah, he was weird.
Get it?
That was good. That was good.
Nailed it. That's interesting. You're very you're an entrepreneur.
I guess
you're an entrepreneur. I think that's the easiest way to say it. I mean, and I don't think, that's a misconception I think a lot of people have. Like, you can work for another company and still be an entrepreneur, because I think entrepreneur includes somewhere in there, like doing what you enjoy and waking up and loving your career. And if that's a doctor, cool. But if that's, making dog beds out of duck feathers, that's also cool too. But even, and then ultimately it leads to working with us. But did you have any other cool stops along the way?
Well, I don't know if they're cool, but from Mallard Made, it sprung into, I started doing a Disney blog, which eventually turned into the podcast. And then it turned into the Interviewing Former Athletes podcast, which led me to Fern and then led me to you. And then so I've interviewed you guys on that Keep Moving Forward podcast.
Everybody replay that and like that. Just as far as like the order of operations there, which is
no. Who was first? I was first. No,
I did interview you first, but I knew Fern was a former athlete. I wanted to interview you both because I liked the Best Hour podcast. And so, you both were on there.
Wait, is the implication here that I'm not a former athlete, Katy? Is that what you're saying?
Of course you're a former athlete. You wrestled.
Yeah. So what's that? Why did Fern go? Wait, you interviewed me for you. Look, on your little rinky-dink podcast, you held my episode to put Fern first?
Capital A versus lowercase a is the difference.
The premise of the podcast was I was interviewing current and former professional and collegiate athletes. So
she didn't make the cut on that one.
You made that I interviewed you, but it was, I wanted to interview you both as so don't get offended.
I didn't think I would get so angry. No. I thought this is going to be a fun episode.
Get offended. He's going to have to come to terms with it at some point that he is not really have any sort of athletic prowess at all.
I did a CrossFit competition and got paid last year, right?
How much?
That's pro. 75. I split it in two ways. 37.50.
Yeah.
37.50 didn't cover the entry fee, but it was still pro. I'm still a pro athlete.
You still got paid. That's true. You did. Yeah. You did.
So
I don't think getting prize money makes you pro. I think getting paid to do the competition prior to having any sort of placement would make you at least a paid athlete. Getting 1/5 of your entry fee back for placement in the adaptive division short stature. I don't.
It was like 25%.
Yeah,
more than that. But I think pro is more of a state of mind, Fern.
Well, you still got a long way to go. So yeah,
ferned. You've been ferned. That's my new verb. So I do want to hear, because you had a pretty, I would say, decent podcast, right? Not no best hour of their day, but it was still good. You had some good people on there. You had a couple of different iterations of it too, right? Didn't you have a podcast where you were interviewing all the members of the Titan games in an effort to get to The Rock?
Yeah. So I had
That's commitment and strategy, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it up for Katy. And like, I do want the listeners to take from this, like, hard work pays off. I mean, oh fuck, somebody already has that, right? Let's call it like,
we have to pay royalties for that.
Big effort pays off. BEPO, if you will. BEPO. Big effort pays off, and like you've always like you have this. I don't doubt in Katy's lifetime she will interview The Rock. It's probably going to be on this Best Hour podcast, but we will include you on there. We will let you ask a question.
Influencer Ackerman will reach him one day, and
I'll get to him. I'll glean from it. I call him Dwayne. DJ.
Dwayne, DJ. Yeah. But yeah, I had the Keep Moving Forward podcast, and I started it because I was a former collegiate athlete and just navigating kind of life after athletics, how to do that. And so I just started. I didn't like the negative connotation around it of if you're no longer an athlete, you have to settle for like a real job. So I wanted to flip the script on that narrative. And so I started talking to people who made successes out of things outside of being an athlete. But then from there, I got challenged by a mentor of mine at the time to say who would be, if I could interview like the top person on that podcast, who would it be? And I love The Rock, always have. So I thought about him. So I just started coming up with different ploys to try and get him, doing like social media blitzes. And then he came out with the Titan Games TV show. So the first series, I did a short run podcast where I tried to interview as many athletes from the show as I could. And then when they did the second season, but they released the names before the season came out. And so I reached out to all of them to get them on the show. And because I had messaged them so many times, the agency that represented them, they reached out to me. They're like, why are you trying to reach out to every single person?
Why are you harassing us?
Why are you doing this? But it worked in my favor because they ended up helping me get a lot of the athletes on there. And it was a lot like games athletes too. Danny Spiegel was on there, Matt Chan. Yeah.
And you had one of our affiliate U members, Kareem, on there.
Yep. He was on there. So it was cool. And I never
he was in the Titan games?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I got down like Kareem's social media rabbit hole a couple of weeks ago. Then I sent it over to Katy.
He definitely looks fit.
Oh, he's a fit dude, that guy. Yeah. He's from New Jersey.
CrossFit Shrewsbury.
Yeah. So but I also, like I said, like this is like for fun, but at the same time, I think the listeners, like, you can relate this to CrossFit, to coaching. Like everybody wants to be a level 1 coach. Everybody wants to show up at a box and have their own class. And it's like, what you don't see is all of the, it's like an iceberg, right? They always say you see that tip, but all this underwater is like Katy's harassing people and, like literally like getting arrested in order to interview people at the Titan games. How many of those people on the show did you wind up interviewing?
I interviewed almost all of them the second season. But then when they would get like, I would interview them before the show started. And then of course they would know who the winner was going to be. And so by process of elimination, I was able to figure out, but then like Matt Chan willingly came on the first season and he won. And so it just was kind of hit or miss.
I had dinner with Matt and Cherie like weeks after this, before it was on. And I was like, you won. I know it. And he was like, And he was so like coy about it that I was like, maybe he didn't win. And then, it turns out he won. I was like, damn it. I was like, why couldn't you just tell me? I would have bet on you. I could have, retired.
And then oh my God, why am I blank on her name?
Danny Spiegel?
No. Wine. She makes wine.
Oh, Margot Alvarez.
Margot Alvarez.
Yeah. I got to interview her. She was really cool.
But she did.
She's been on the podcast.
She was close. Too, yeah. She was close though.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't win.
I can't remember how far she got, but yeah, she
made it far. Yeah.
So, you find us, we wind up chatting and all that stuff. Talk us through the decision making. I think a few things working in your favor. You were, probably 27 at the time, based on how old you are now. You were getting married and, Tyler's got a great career. So that's probably a little helpful. But did you have the support from Tyler, from Lou, from your sister, from the family?
Oh yeah. Whenever you guys, like, cause we had the call together like a week before our wedding. And you said, yeah.
And
Like,
by the
go
way,
talk-
were we invited to that
No,
wedding? I can't remember.
You were not invited to the wedding.
I mean, I went. I was invited.
Fern was just at
But-
Epcot. Fern just happened to be at
Jay's-
Epcot that
Showed
day.
up.
Jay's just finding out now that he was not invited.
Fern was on the Figment ride. Meanwhile,
he was
is
just
that
riding
that
around.
ride still
That's
there?
right. Figment's still there. It's a great ride. Great ride. But yeah, we had a call. I think it really was a week before we left. And you said, yeah, like go talk to Tyler, just run it by and make sure you guys are good to go. And I remember telling him, was like, hey, like they offered me the full-time job now, so I'd have to quit my other job. And he said, I mean, thanks for asking, but why, like, you don't have to ask. We knew you were going to do this. And it was because, I mean, he is very supportive in that way. Like he knew what the pursuit was. And so he didn't care how it happened. He just said, he was thankful that I told him, but
Fern,
man,
1 to
Tyler.
10.
Good
1 to
man,
10 right
Tyler.
here, Fern.
10.
Would you be surprised
Wait,
if
is
there
10
was
good or is 10 bad?
10's like it's probably true.
Okay.
So there's no
I'm
Tyler.
sticking
There's
with
no
10.
Tyler. Katie's crazy. Made up this Tyler. Happens to always be traveling.
so you guys have never actually seen him.
I've never
No, no, no.
seen him.
I've seen him walk in that room behind you before.
Oh, come on.
he's
I go
definitely
on-
very real.
I'll go on like a job website and be like, hey, dude, I'll pay you $5. Just walk behind me.
So I
I'm
just
sure,
have
like-
a random man in the apartment just walking
It's
around.
the maintenance
This
guy,
is-
maybe.
This is a very odd accusation coming from a guy who's literally never left his mother's basement.
That's true.
You both met Roz and Madison.
Yeah. Tyler has asked me before. He's like, what do you
Even that, I was
yeah.
like, are these actors?
Are they
I'm like,
really actors?
there's no way that this chick.
That
would-
British
would
accent
hang.
sounds fake.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
sounds fake. And this child looks uncomfortable around him when he's holding the baby.
That's
so.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. But that's probably just because I didn't change your diaper.
Yeah.
What were you going to ask us, Katie?
I was going to say that Tyler, he's asked me before he's like, what do they think of me? I was like, I don't know if they think of you. Like they've never met you. or seen
Yeah, I would
you.
say like I don't think anything negative. I don't
what-
think
I was like,
anything
I
positive.
talk about you.
What do you think of Tyler? I don't.
I don't.
Um,
Yeah.
Truthfully, here's what I think of Tyler.
Sure, he's
I
great.
think without knowing him, I think he's a good dude because I think anybody that supports someone's dreams of leaving the quote unquote real world is a good person. And it sounds like he's a good dude. So I think the fact
I don't
that
know. I don't know Tyler, but here's what I would tell him. He definitely married up. So good for you.
Oh,
Aw.
look at Fern. Look at you, Fern. Yeah.
That's the goal.
Well, I mean,
That's the goal.
quarterfinal athlete. Come on.
Outpunt- when it comes to marriage, men's job is to outpunt your coverage. Like that's the whole purpose of marriage is to marry up. So
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
You did.
yeah,
I did. I
Yeah,
did.
yeah. By a long shot, dude.
And who
Long
married
shot.
up bigger, me or you?
Well, technically
and-
you because there's such a gap between you and any female.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, no
Yeah.
disrespect to Jess,
Yeah.
she's awesome, but you're a little higher in stature than I am.
not even.
I
a
mean,
little,
really,
just a
is
lot.
there
Yeah,
any
it's just
female on this planet that I would have married that you would have been like, hey, you didn't marry up?
Like, we could probably find one, but it'd be quite the search. Yeah.
I was. Can I tell? Small tangent, literally small. I was. So you guys know me. After 7 p.m. in Colorado, it's my time, if you will. And I was just chilling, and I was talking to a good friend from high school, who I went to a lot of Grateful Dead shows and whatnot. But he was like 6'10". He's a big, tall dude.
Mhm.
And I've told you this on the show before. I've never really understood my stature, how short I am. Like I'm 5'3", and the first time I started to recognize it was when that bagel dude, who's 5 foot, started freaking out and yelling at people for disrespecting because he's short. And I was like, I'm only 3 inches taller than that guy. Should I be this angry? And then I realized a lot of it also had to do with like my best friend growing up was so tall, and we just never even. It was probably so strange for people to see us. Because at that time, I'm probably 5 foot. He's probably like above 6, but we never thought anything of it, So I think that was a big part of it. Like, I was just like, oh, he's tall, I'm short, no big deal. Like I didn't realize how small I am.
I don't
This
know.
is
what that
far
had to
more
do-
interesting
I don't know-
at 7
I
o'clock
don't know
at night
what
in
that had
Colorado.
to do with anything. That was just Jay was like, we've gone too far without talking about me. So I'm gonna tell
Myself.
this
Talk about me.
super fucking random story that has
No,
nothing
it had to do with
anything.
marrying up. Like I've, never realized like
That's a story about you and a dude.
we were briefly married. I forgot to mention that part.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
there
now,
it is.
well,
Tie it all.
So Katie, what were the first, like, what was the biggest, you come back from your honeymoon and you're no longer at this quote unquote real job. You're working with us. Like, how did that feel?
It felt great. Like I really do. I tell Tyler this all the time. It doesn't feel like I have a job because I genuinely love not like is true. Like I genuinely love everything I get to do with you guys every day. And it was one of those things where I knew I love CrossFit and podcasting and all the things, that led me to this point. But the idea that I could make a career out of doing this, and it's something that I didn't know where I was going, but I ended up in the right place. So.
But, let me ask you this. We joke a lot, but you have some days that you must run from 7 to 7, if not late. I mean, I got a Slack message from you the other day. Sometimes it doesn't have the time, but it was like 4 hours ago, it said.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 6 a.m. my time. So I was like, what time did she send me this? Do you remember that message? Like, was it like middle of the night? Were you up in the middle of the night on Slack?
Oh, that would have been 4 a.m.
Yeah, I get up.
It was very early.
I get up at 4. So
you get up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, you think you're a big shot because you get up at 5:15 and read 10 pages?
No,
75 hard over there.
I don't think I'm a big shot. I don't even want to get up at 5:15. That's just how I have to do anything that would resemble being productive prior to my monsters waking up. Right. But 4 a.m. What do you do? What's your morning routine look like, Katie?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. I get up. The coffee is made because I set it.
So alarm goes off.
Yep. I have a sunrise alarm. So I have to get out of bed to turn it off.
Yeah, that's a key for people to. That's the one thing, this Whoop, I don't always get out of bed because it's on my wrist. That's a good one. Make sure it's not in bed. I like that, Katie.
I like to.
So alarm goes off. Coffee's already made.
Yeah, because I set it the night before.
That's a baller move. That's good.
And then lately,
I'm going to text Marcus real quick while you're going over this.
Okay. Like I'm studying for my level 3. So lately it's been studying or like watching the videos online in the morning. And then I go to the 5:30 class for CrossFit. I come home, eat breakfast, feed Jack, walk Jack, and then start work.
So, but what time do you go to the box? 5:30 is class?
Yeah. Class is at 5:30. So I leave by 5:10, 5:15.
And you're taking that class?
Correct.
So you wake up early just to study for CrossFit then? Because you could probably get up closer to like 4:30, 4:45.
Yeah, but I like having time before I leave. I don't like feeling like I get up and have to leave right away. I like having time in the morning to prepare.
How good are you at making sure that time in the morning doesn't just become work?
Not the best. Sometimes it's, it's really easy to, if I see an email and I don't like notifications and I want them all to go away, like you.
That's one thing we have in common that Fern doesn't have. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Well, you have 13,000 emails in your inbox.
No, I don't. I mean, I have way more than that. At
this point, it's probably in the 20s. But that's a challenge, right? Because a lot of people talk about waking up early, and then if it's just to scroll on social media or do work, like, what's the sense? Get some sleep. So you're pretty good about it, but it could be a little bit better.
9,081.
No, well, you're basically empty. It's basically empty.
All of those are in the junk.
So you get up early, but then you come home, and I mean, there are days where probably 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. you're sitting right here at your computer. You have, people. You have affiliate U calls for us. You're doing a tremendous amount on the back end. Even those days, you're never like, this is too much, or I don't like this, or Ackerman pissed me off today.
No, really. Cause I mean, even if I'm sitting at a computer having like 11 calls, I know, like, it's just the thought of, I know what it was like to have, which all the other jobs I had weren't bad. But knowing that this is what I was working towards, that is really grounding and reminding me of, even on the worst days, which even the worst days are not bad. So
there is so much value to having a crappy job. Like
it makes good jobs. Like, you appreciate.
I have already decided my children will have really not fun jobs when they are teenagers.
If your children work, I would be surprised, Fern.
No, is quite literally non-negotiable.
Logan, are you saying Logan one day will have a job?
Why wouldn't you have a job?
I don't know, because it's Logan.
What are you saying? What are you saying about my kid?
I could see Logan as a free spirit. What are you saying
about my kid?
Logan is a free spirit. Yeah, I can see Logan.
That free spirit's gonna take her tiny ass to work, is what she's gonna do.
You're gonna be working for best hour one day. Let's be honest.
Dad, I want to frolic in the woods. Cool. You can frolic in the woods after work. Get to work.
I can see Chappie. Chappie's going to be the CEO of this company one day. He's taking over. I can see that.
No, he's going to be he's he's going to break things.
No different than me. You're just be fixing different problems. They'll be from Chappie rather than from me.
Let's wrap up with this because it'll be useful for the callers. Katie,
The callers.
we're gonna
listeners.
the callers. They're calling in.
Callers.
They're gonna
Billions.
call in right now.
We're live. We're taking calls for the
We're
billions
live
of
and we're taking
listeners.
calls for the listeners. Katie, we're gonna do a very quick because we kind of talked about this on the previous episode. I'll give you the option here to help. Right. So 4 models for the definition of fitness. 10 general physical skills, hopper. Do you know what the other 2 are?
General physical skills, hopper.
No, are you going to disappoint us?
Metabolic
on this episode?
pathways, sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. Okay.
Was that the question? Are you quizzing
Nope.
her?
Nope.
Okay.
I am going to.
Because I knew the answer.
You, well, I would really fucking hope so. But those are the 4 models that give us the definition of fitness, which is work capacity across broad time and middle domains. Choose a model. Choose a model.
Now I'm really sweating.
Wow.
Okay.
This is how you're gonna get that level 3, Katie.
Okay.
Choose a model.
The
Choose
hopper.
one, yeah.
The hopper.
Hopper.
Okay. All right. Give us your current understanding of the hopper model and how it is relevant to CrossFit.
Okay.
Ooh, good question.
So my current understanding is if you have like a marathon runner, a Olympic lifter, and a CrossFitter. So the marathon runner, if you have them run a long distance event, they're going to win. The CrossFitter will finish probably moderately behind them, and the Olympic lifter will do very poorly. On the opposite side, if you have them do a 1 rep max snatch, the lifter will do great, the runner not so great, and the CrossFitter will be somewhere in the middle there. So the whole point of it is to be like a jack of all trades and a master of none. So the CrossFitter is adept at across the board versus being a specialist.
Okay. Jay, initial thoughts?
I think that's probably,
There's a key component missing here, which is why we're doing this, right? But
a moderate level of
good.
understanding of the hopper.
Right.
Right.
That's
it's
kind
good.
of the introduction. If you were hearing the What is Fitness lecture and we were on the second model, the hopper,
Yep.
The beginning of that lecture for sure.
Okay. So let's button this up, right? So that understanding is absolutely correct. But from a deeper level, there's 2 things that we need to understand about the hopper model specifically. Number 1, it's a thought experiment. This is not how you should program or do anything like that. But more importantly, the idea there is that he or she who would perform statistically best across any number of skills or drills that we would pull out of the hopper would be the fittest, right? So we're trying to cast a very large net here, which is the idea of the hopper. It doesn't matter what goes in as long as we can quantify it. At that point, once we start pulling those things out, if you're well-rounded, it won't really matter what comes out of the hopper. You'll perform statistically well across the board, particularly when compared to specialists because they have known deficiencies, right? Which lines up with, true fitness as a compromise. Now, so that's the first piece. The second piece is it outlines the idea of working deficiencies. So this is where the statement comes in where you say you stand more to gain by diving headlong into your deficiencies than you do by spending any more time doing things that you are good at. So if you're like, what should I work on? What do you not want to see come out of the hopper? There's your answer. This is everybody a perfect time to end this podcast because Jay can't talk. So, but does that help with the hopper model, Katie, is the question.
Yeah, that helps a lot. That was very, there he goes.
Oh, perfect. He fell off even better. Okay. Yeah. So when when we go back to studying for the level 3, which is what you're doing, this is one of the best ways to study, I think, which is teach it to somebody, right? So that's why I put you on the spot there, just see where it's at and then meet you where you're at, unpack a couple of additional pieces to that specific model, and then understand how that would relate to CrossFit and training, which is, okay, this person has a deficiency. What would it be? It would be, I don't know, overhead position, pulling, pushing, running, weightlifting, accuracy, coordination, agility, balance, whatever it might be. Okay, well, let's work on that. And the idea is that by filling those gaps, you will also continue to get better at the things you're already good at. So that's the whole idea of the hopper model. So I hope everybody had a little moment of clarity there, and we can do more of this, Katie.
I like that. We could finish the episodes with you quizzing me.
We can discuss all of that.
That's good.
Cool. All right, callers / listeners. we'll see you guys next time. This is probably the best ending to a podcast we've ever had. Oh, fuck, he's back.
What happened? Was that me or you?
Both of you guys, and then Fern came back and you went away.
It does. Yeah, it wasn't. And he's gone again.
And he's gone again.
All right,
okay.
Let's just end it. All right. Until next time, fans.
What the fuck? Katy, we've had some technical difficulties during this episode. I attribute them almost exclusively to Fern. Once Fern got on, the internet basically shut down. But I want to wrap up this episode. We talked about, a little bit of coaches development with you with the Hopper. Part of coaches development, part of owning an affiliate, part of being a good leader is giving and accepting feedback. So, Katy, this is your opportunity.
Uh-oh.
Here's what I want to give you.
Okay.
Fern's not on here. That's fine. He's great at receiving feedback. This is your opportunity. I want a piece of feedback for myself and for Fern that we will implement as the leaders of Best Hour. So we can't, we lead by example. We like to give feedback, but we also like to receive. This is it. This is your one shot, one opportunity. Mom spaghetti. Let's hear it, Katy.
Just in general, as leaders of Best Hour of their day.
Yeah, sure. You can have like forward facing, meaning for the listeners, for the clients, etc., but also for you. You deal with us probably more so than anybody else, wives, family included, right? And what are some things we can do better for you to be a better leader here of Best Hour? But sure, if you want to expand that and give us something we can do better for the community at large, we are all ears. Well, I should say I'm all ears. Fern's not here, but I would love to hear what you have to say about Fern.
On his behalf. I truly think you guys are great leaders and you practice what you preach, the stuff that you put out there. That's not genuinely, I'm trying to think of something to come up with. But
come on.
I know.
What's something that I do that drives you crazy? You have to have something.
You've gotten better at it, but when you have a thought, you like to just shoot off the thought in a message like right away.
I've gotten better.
You've definitely gotten better. And then it's also me learning, like I used to freak. I'm like, oh man, this has to be done right now. But then it's realizing, okay, no, actually it's just a thought sometimes, and it doesn't have to be implemented right away. So
yeah. And I that's great feedback, and I hear you and I accept it. And I also want to say, like, sometimes I've gotten better where it's like, if I Slack it to you, my impression is like, I'm putting it out there, but you know that it's not urgent. Where like when you get a text, oftentimes it's like, oh man, what's going on? And I think we all do that pretty well. Like we keep most of our communication that are business related to Slack, which took some time. So when we do text each other now, it's often like either, hey, I'm running late. It's like, because we know we see that a little bit faster. But
yeah, that was hugely, like, that was a game changer for sure when we switched to Slack. Because now I know if you text me or call me, it's like, okay, that means something is more urgent than Slack. But yeah, I agree. That was very.
How about for Fern? He's so bad at so many things. What would you give him? I mean, just pick one. Just try to limit it. Me, you had one thing, and it was mostly just an acknowledgement of how great I am at it. But what do you have for Fern? Because I mean, and let's, we know he's like very soft. So like, compliment sandwich maybe.
Right. Exactly. Fern's a great leader. Yeah, he's super sensitive.
Now the meat. Get to it.
And he's self-proclaimed. He says he has gotten a lot better at his calendar.
I know where you're going. Yeah.
He used to not pay attention to his calendar at all. But truly, and I think we're in agreement with this, that he has now 9,000 emails still, like just taking the time to clear that out.
Oh my gosh. This is my point to him. And I know you and I are very much the same on this. Like, I've gotten to the point where I do have the realization, like, it's impossible to keep everything empty because you have no control over the billions of people out there that could send you a message, right? Email, text, DM, etc. But understanding, hey, you don't have to get back to everything today. You are not on their schedule. You're on your schedule. However, you can't think for a second having 9,000 emails in your inbox does not create some amount of stress,
or impact,
albeit small.
Yeah.
And to give Fern credit, we had that talk in Virginia, remember, at his living room table, where he fully is aware that he struggles sometimes with that. And yes, he pointed fingers. He blamed it on the Navy, but he has gotten significantly. I mean, let's give a little peek behind the curtain. The reason this episode started the way it did is because Fern, granted he was taking care of his kids. No one gets angry with that, but it interfered with our schedule.
Right. With
Yeah.
the podcast recording. And so now.
But now, you know what? Here's what came from that. We don't need him. We realized we don't need Fern. In fact, we tried to include him on this episode and he ruined it.
Yeah. His internet made it bad.
I was talking more just his personality made it bad. His internet saved us by getting him off the show. It really what it comes down to. But no, I think it's important. Nothing else. Nothing. What is one moment where you got really mad at me or annoyed with me or frustrated?
There's so many to choose from. So
pick one. Pick one time. I want to hear it.
Okay. This is one time.
Okay. Oh, wait. Are you about to hurt my feelings? Are you going to hurt my feelings?
Are you sensitive? Do you take things personally?
Yeah, most of the time.
There's only one time. And it was a Saturday. It was like,
have you ever told me this before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But you knew, like, it's not so, like, it's not like I wasn't super mad. It was just, it's not a surprise. I don't think this interchange, but anyway, it was a Saturday and Vimeo had stopped working. And so you remember this? Yeah. And so it was for our Patreon subscribers. And so the video stopped working. And so it was because there was a miscommunication as to if we were discontinuing Vimeo or not. And so even though it was you had slacked it, I'm pretty sure you had slacked it.
I slacked it. I was in my sauna. I remember this.
And so even though like Slack has made it better to, I can not look at it, but I still don't like getting notifications. And so the idea that something had messed up, I wanted to make sure it was fixed. And so we just kept going back and forth. It wasn't so much like I wasn't angry. It was just the frustration of something had happened that I wanted to immediately take care of. So yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, and this is important. This is part of feedback, right? Like, if I slacked it to you, in my mind, I'm like, this is not urgent.
Right.
But then when you start responding, I'm like, okay, we're in it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I think, it's important to kind of set those up. But I should also, what I'm hearing is if I message you, be aware that you may try to handle it immediately. So now that that changes, even though it's on Slack, maybe I'll just kind of save it as a draft in the future and wait till Monday morning.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but too, then it's like if you,
and there's also been times I'm like, Katy, I'll literally say in the message, this is not urgent.
Not urgent, but I still, and that's like on me because I am not great about setting the boundaries of I don't like notifications and I want to make sure things are done. So
and this goes back to the idea that we kicked off earlier where I'm like, I never get upset if you've tried something. And this was so for the listeners, like we had a Vimeo account. I asked in the group, do we need this? And unanimously, everyone said no. And then it turns out we do need it. No one considered that. That was more of like, now I'm annoyed because I wasn't even mad at you. I was more annoyed with the rest of the team because I'm like, don't answer if you don't know the right answer.
Yeah.
And that's the boss thing. We learned that at the games, right? Stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. And, although Fern owns half this company, it's like, if you don't know the deal with Vimeo, don't feel obligated to give me an answer. Say, I don't know. Right. And then it turned into that.
Yeah. And I think it's like, we don't know what we don't know because we didn't know that we still were or that closing it would impact other videos. So yeah, but that was the only time. So what about now you can give me feedback.
No, I let me think. No, I truly can't think of, I know there are times I've been annoyed more than anything, but again, it's annoyed, but you've tried something. So I'm not like mad. I'm trying to think of any, like something here's a great example. Remember when you tried to change the calendar link?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it broke. Yeah. So it was like, I'm not mad at you for trying that. You didn't know any better. What becomes frustrating, and I think a lot of affiliate owners deal with this, is like the trickle down effect of that. Now I've got like 10 people messaging me because something, either their calendar, like the event got deleted or they couldn't schedule it. Like it's little things like that, which for some reason almost only happen on the weekends.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all of us. Like we all have like these ideas to do on the weekends. We do them not realizing. And that's just a learning curve of the business. But if anything, I get annoyed with you for working too much. I'm like, you need to chill out. And I only say that because I love it, how passionate you are, how much you care about this business and CrossFit. But I also know, like we've said numerous times, passion has a shelf life. And granted, we are now paying you, I mean, very well, 7-8 figures deep, right?
And actually, yeah.
10 figures. But, at the same time, it's really important as I've gotten older, and I know I speak for Fern on this, and certainly Marcus, to have balance in your life. And you're married and you've got, Jack, and we want to make sure that it's very easy as an entrepreneur to let work and life kind of, personal life kind of intertwine. And I do my best. Like, that's probably the biggest beef I've ever had with you is like, you have access to my calendar and then you'll be like, how about this time? I'm like, no, like you're looking at my calendar, Katy, like, that. But also that was me saying like nothing before this time, nothing after that time. And of course there's always small exceptions to those rules.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you this. I wanted to ask you this when Fern was on, and I don't want to get into specifics, but to me, it was really important. We sat down and chatted, end of last year about giving you that pay increase. What was that like for you? I know you didn't do this for the financial gain. You did this because you love it, but we always promise you and like dangle that carrot of like, it's going to come. So what did it feel like? Was it more than you expected? Was it less? Was it like, I didn't need anything, but we appreciate it? Like, and how does Tyler, like, and your family who supported you, I want to hear like, now they've seen like, oh, this is real. And you're actually like, it was important to me to pay you more than most people are making in this country because you took a risk. Okay. And then I want people to hear that. Like Katy took that risk a year or 2 years ago. And oftentimes it looks like a step back in life. And it oftentimes is. However, it's like what do they say? Something about an arrow. Like you got to be pulled back to shoot forward.
That's a good.
I said that. Quote me on that.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, truly. I mean, I was shocked because I got a raise in under a year of working with. It was less than a year. I mean, I had done part-time work for a year, but as far as full-time, so that was surprising in a really great way. And I excitedly texted Tyler as soon as you guys told me that.
And we were still in Virginia, because didn't we tell you in Virginia?
Yeah, we were in Virginia. It was really creepy too. You were like, "Hey now, I'm Katy," and it was the three of us in the car. And you just we sat in the parking lot of Rife.
Oh yeah, I remember that was at Rife, right?
I was like, "What's happening?" Yeah, and so that was, but yeah, it was really incredibly generous because truly, like, again, not to actually talk numbers, but this is the most amount of money I've ever made since graduating college with a full-time job, even the one I had before this. And so awesome. It just goes to show that, it's just fun because it's a two-way street. Like you're praising me for putting myself out there, but you guys took a risk on me too. You had no idea who I was. I could have been a serial killer or a sociopath. You still might be. We've never met Tyler. Time will tell. Yeah, it's true. I could be making him up. We don't know.
Well, I told you that when we gave you that raise, I said, this is selfish because I want to do it to show you that we are, men of honor or of our word, if you will. Where it was like, hey, I want to make sure that we're rewarding someone, and it feels good. Like now to know, like we've taken good care of you, and it's only getting bigger, baby. It's only getting bigger. It's going to be sad when it's not you and we fire you and put somebody else in your place, but that person is going to be making a lot of money one day.
Reach out. You don't know. It could be you.
Yeah, you could take Katy's job. Just reach out. It's not going to take much.
That's all it takes.
You just basically have to not be a serial killer and we will take you.
Yeah. Or you could be, because, you never know how far you could get.
Yes. But we truly appreciate it. And I hope the listeners enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better because they do interact quite a bit with you. You are a big part of the show. And we wish you nothing but success. So we appreciate all you do here.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.